Well, hey, check it out. I'm live. Woohoo. Um, hmm, okay. All right. So basically, this is just a test, so it isn't going to last very long. So I doubt anybody is actually going to see this while I'm live. But hey, all right. Let's move over here so we're more centered. Okay, cool. Let's lean back. Can you still hear me? Going to assume you can. All right. And in a minute, we'll check this to see how the sound is, but I'm going to assume that the sound is okay for the moment. All right, so I've been trying to figure out. Bing. Whoops. Oh, yeah. I've been trying to figure out what to do with my blogging and podcasts and all of that shit. Now, probably the best thing for me to do would be like write articles and such. But I want to preserve my writing for my fiction and for my game, Stellar Quo. So, yeah, that is on the lower end of the list. And I could do a regular, podcast, but that involves more work than I think I am capable of at the moment. My beard's looking weird. So, because I do the recording, which is fine. I'm great at talking to myself, basically. But then I have to do the recording. I have to do the editing. And I have to find a place for it. I could just put it on Patreon, but then it isn't really available to a wider audience. Now, the good thing about putting it on Patreon is I can immediately enclose it behind a paywall so that people have to pay to hear it. But one of the things I found is that people generally aren't really cool about paying to hear my podcast. I've got actually 2 people on my Patreon right now. Two. And those 2 people came aboard when I was doing the podcast. I was doing the podcast. I was doing a few podcasts, basically, because you split them all down into what I was doing. I was doing like 3, at least. So that's the thing. Nobody wants to hear. Nobody wants to pay to hear me talk. And the way I was doing it was that if you were a paying member of my Patreon, then you would you'd get the podcast immediately as soon as it's set out. Or if you weren't a paying member, you'd have to wait 3 days. That was my compromise there. But like I said, I got 2 people who were willing to pay. Now, when I had the radio thing going, that was cool. I would just insert the podcast into the broadcast. But that was something, the radio station was something I had to pay for. And I forget how much it was. I can tell you maybe in a minute. Airtime. There we go. Yeah. No, I don't want that. It was $10 a month for 2 gigabytes of storage. So basically, I could put 2 gigabytes of music or whatever. They would store that for me, and that's what I could use to pay. That wasn't a lot. 2 gigabytes, to be honest, is not a lot of music. And then when you throw a podcast in there, every couple of days, that memory adds up. I could go up to 5 gig for $34 a month, or and it went up from there. But like I said, it cost me. Now, so yeah, so that was the thing. And I may still put the radio station up again, maybe at the $34 a month. At the $34 a month level. That's the word I'm looking for. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. We'll see. But so I figured, and I was kind of reluctant to do any sort of video thing because seriously, folks, I mean, look at me. I have a face made for radio. And that's a thing. But I think I'm going to do this for now, which, and see how that works out. And I really need to do some kind of studio thing, because here in the office, as you can see, it's generally a mess. I mean, it would be cool if I could somehow get the railroad more involved in that, but yeah, that's going to be kind of hard for you guys to see, and because of the layout of the office, I can't bring it closer or bring me closer to that. I got a bunch of junk back there that I really need to clear out. So I think I'm going to set up a studio in the living room. Well, I'm not using the living room for anything else, to be quite honest. So I had been using it for a studio for my photography, but at this point in my life, I really don't see me as doing any photography, not in the near future anyway. I mean, the studio, the living room / photo studio is set up for it because I managed to do that, but I don't have the money to afford models really anymore. So that's a problem. And nobody is buying my photography. I really need to start putting more of my stuff on BentBox, because that seems to be the only thing, seems to be a decent way of selling it. I've actually sold some work through BentBox, but not a lot. So I need to start putting more on there. I think the more I put on there, the higher they will advertise me and whatnot. And they make it pretty easy to, just copy a link and throw it on Facebook, throw it on Twitter and whatnot. So, that's a good thing. Throw it on Instagram. So we'll see how that all works out. What else? Really not much else. We got 9 minutes on here, so. Yes, I'm drinking Coke, and no, I'm not supposed to, but it's kind of a compromise. One of the things I've found is that I generally drink Coke slowly. This bottle actually is one I opened yesterday, and I'm still drinking it. I drink it slower than I drink other things. That doesn't matter what it is. Root beer, ginger ale, fruit punch, whatever. I tend to drink more of that when I'm drinking that. And fluid retention is an issue for me because my kidneys are dead. So, so even though Coke has the phosphorus, carbonated water, high fructose corn syrup, caramel color, phosphoric acid. Yeah, it's got the phosphorus. I drink it so slowly, it doesn't really bother me. And while I'm drinking it, of course, I'm eating stuff, and I take my binders for that, and the binders work on phosphorus. So we're going to see. They just did blood work. They took blood on me Tuesday. No, it wasn't yesterday. It was like last Thursday. So I should be getting some numbers from that, and we'll see how that's working out. It's ongoing how I deal with my illness. So anyway, I think that's going to be it for the moment. I'm going to watch this so I see how the sound is on it, and we'll see if, what kind of tweaks we need to make. So y'all be cool. And remember, don't do anything I wouldn't do, but if you do, take pictures.